DJ Rachelle, and you are tuned in to the official broadcast of Kpsu, which has been broadcasting since 1994 on the Portland State campus, and we're streaming to you worldwide 24/7 at www.kpsu.org. This is Live Fridays, which means I have to remind you that the views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily represent Kpsu, Portland State University, or any of our participating affiliates. Listener discretion is advised. We do have wonderful artists all warmed up in the studio, but before you get to hear Laryssa Birdseye, we're going to thank some of the people that help make the station possible and take care of some of the other little business bits we got to play here, and we'll be right back.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Serving up guitar goodies since 1996. It's the Guitar Shop on KPSU Radio. Wednesdays 4 to 6 p.m. Rock, jazz, blues, experimental, classical. It's all here on the Guitar Shop, Wednesdays 4 to 6 p.m. on KPSU.
Need help powering through your next study session? Sesame Donuts is family-owned and student-run, with free Wi-Fi and locally roasted coffee to complement their full menu, serving breakfast sandwiches, flavored cream cheeses, and of course, delicious donuts fresh every day. Located at 1503 Southwest Park, just a block from Lincoln Hall. Sesame Donuts, made to make your day.
Hey, this is Jana from Quasi, and you're listening to KPSU Portland.
And now ready to perform for you live here in the KPSU studios, here is Laryssa Birdseye.
Oh no, waking up turned into stone. There's handprints wrapped around my throat and bloodstains on the hotel sheets. Did you think that you could get away with taking what I never gave you? Nothing ever comes for free. Do you know what you've done now? What you've awakened? Something buried inside of me. It's an old kind of rage, like the gods without names. Oh, I dare you to look at me. You can't take anything I can't get back to myself. I'm Medusa in the garden, I'm a dragon to hell. And you had your fun, now it's time for mine. If you're piece by piece, ruin your whole life. You can't take anything I can't give back to myself. I'm the cup, I'm the water, I'm the whole well. What you did to me is coming back to you. Trying to run, trying to hide, but you can't move. Did you think I was the perfect crime? You smiled when you spun your lies. You saw me like a lamb and licked your teeth. Did you think that you could burn my temple, that I wouldn't reassemble, but you tried killing me? Yeah, you might be the wolf, but I'm something much worse. I'm the monster inside of your dreams. What you took is your curse. You gon' get what you deserve. Oh, I dare you to look at me. Look at me. You can't take anything. I can't get back to myself. I'm Medusa in the garden. I'm a dragon to hell. And you had your fun. Now it's time for mine. Rip you piece by piece. Ruin your whole life. You can't take anything. I can't get back to myself. I'm the cup, I'm the water, I'm the whole well. What you did to me is coming back to you. Trying to run, try to hide, but you can't move. It's an exercise in trying not to cuss.
Stretch goals.
Yeah, it's surprising. I feel like I do that on the fly so much, but it's been a while. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And try the last time I saw you perform, I think was the Atlantis Lounge, which was fun because you introduced some new music, which is always fun to hear.
Yeah, I write a lot, so it's like, I have albums to promote, but by the time, I think that's the struggle with any independent artist is like by the time you are ready to promote your project, you're so done with it. So that's kind of, I write a lot of new stuff.
Right. And I remember I think it was somewhat joking, but also probably somewhat being honest of your note section on your phone.
Oh, yeah.
Wanting to have that, be the thing someone deletes if anything happens to you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But is that also what you use for, like, putting down your notes for songs and things?
Oh, yeah. Like, if you went through my notes app, I think that I feel like we live in this age where we have these like digital closets. Like if you went into my house, I'm really good at keeping, this is not a practice I always had, but I'm really good at organizing things. I'm like, I don't care about astrology, but I'm a Virgo. So I'm like, if things are out of order, I'm like, I'll lose my mind. So my physical space is very tidy, but then you go into my digital space and it's like opening the door to like literally an insane person. So I'm always like, if I were to ever die and someone had to go through my phone, if they were expecting to find like sweet things, I'm like, no, just throw it away. Like you're gonna find a lot of stuff that you're not prepared to find. But yeah, I write down song ideas. I'm kind of like, as much as I hate the impact that my cell phone has had on my life and mental health, it's also an incredible tool to just kind of like grab at little ideas out of the air that I think otherwise would sort of dissipate. I think songwriting has probably just, I think songs were originally just stories that were kind of passed around a fireplace. So they always evolved a bit depending on who would sing them. But I think, having a way to record yourself and record ideas and kind of get them down and then fine tune them and hone them. There's so many times I write a song and I really like a melody, but I wouldn't necessarily be able to recall that particular way I turned the phrase unless I had something. So like between my camera app and my notes app, there's 13,000 songs that are either finished or unfinished.
How do you pick out which ones to actually produce and put on an album then?
I think there are two kind of ways that I do it. Either I feel like I know it's a good song. Like I just know. I'm like, this is a good song. There's no doubt about it. Or it's something that I care so much about that even if someone was like, I live with musicians and one of my roommates is someone I've known for 10 years and he has very different musical tastes than I have. And sometimes I'll play him a song and he's like, yeah, it's not my favorite. And I'm like, I don't care. So we have a good, I feel like that would have maybe impacted my decision and like
what songs to produce when I was kind of first starting out. But I think for me, part of it is the emotional attachment to the song, and then part of it is I've just become a better songwriter. You know, like over the years of writing songs, you just have to keep at it. You know.
Right. And how much of that is really practice, and how much is just knowing and having the confidence more, and feeling like you can, instead of having to sort of rely on someone else's judgment, you know your own judgment more?
Yeah, I think when you first start out with anything, I think artists are always a bit sensitive about things. I think the process of becoming an artist that you would like to be is listening to that feedback and then knowing what part of it is helpful and what part of it you can kind of leave behind. You're not going to be everyone's taste. You're not going to like please everyone. Some people have very different I've had people in my life that have helped me become a better songwriter through their own editing. Like their brains, they're good at editing. They're good at like sifting through like what makes, what is a good line, what's a filler line. Because I think if you're a talented writer, whether it's poetry or songwriting, sometimes you'll write a filler line. But I think when you can get to a point, and I mean, I'm not saying that I do this every time. I'm not saying every song that I write is a good one or, the best one. But I think the closer you can get to like having every line be intentional, and being able to recognize in your own process, like that line is kind of BS, like I'm fitting a rhyme scheme here, or it's just, so I think you just become better just by doing it.
Yeah, so instead of trying to like transition or bridge between A and B, it's like every point in between, is hitting.
Yeah, like sometimes I'll write a song and then I'll write a second, sometimes the first verse comes to me really quickly and then I'll write a second verse and I'm like, I could write 16 verses to this song, here, and they would be like, okay, but so, just because like, I think it's hard to find something. It's just kind of hard to write a song that the whole way through there's not like a lag. I don't know.
Right. I mean, it's, as you're talking about, the different verses and things, it sounds like it's almost harder just to have that restraint and know what to take out.
My first album is honestly terrible for that reason, not because of the production, but because I just didn't know how to edit myself, So I have songs that are like 6 minutes long, which is fine, if you're like a jam band, if you're like Fish or the Grateful Dead. But if you're like a singer-songwriter and you're doing pop music, 7 minute songs probably not for the best. And now we're looking at songs that, are on the radio and they're like 2.5 minutes because our attention spans are so horrifically divided. Right. But I still have that album up on Spotify because even though I wouldn't personally listen to it and it would probably make me feel sick to listen to it, I think it's important to not pretend that you're a new artist. Like I think when major labels sign an artist, and I'm not saying new artists that they've developed, but they'll take a chance to sign an artist, and then someone will scrub their entire social media, they'll scrub their Spotify, and they'll launch them as if they were, new artists. So there's really no evidence that they sucked for a while.
Right. That was the joke with the band Fun when they got the Grammy for the song We Are Young, is that they wrote it when they were young, and they're like, we are not young anymore.
That's really funny.
Is, to everyone else it was a new song and a new band. But they were like, we're not young anymore. This is not a new thing.
Yeah. I think there isn't as much transparency in the sort of I feel like the music industry is sort of like Zelda, like it's like Ganondorf's castle. So it's terrible and menacing, and you have to really watch your back.
I'm smiling because it's the you laugh or you cry, and so I'm laughing because it's like too spot on.
Yeah, I just and I think you like spend enough time there, like adjacent to people who've made it, or producers that are working with these, and then you kind of realize like everyone's in the same boat. Like except for a very small subset of people. So the question is, and I think this is true for any artist in any field, why should I keep going when none of this makes sense? So that's kind of what I've been trying to answer for the last couple of years, which is what my next album is about. But
right. It's funny because a band I was recently talking with, she made similar comment and said that she finally came to the realization it's because it's something she personally needs. It has nothing to do with the industry, because the industry as a whole, she's like, I could opt out of that part, but at the same time, it wouldn't fill that need to perform that she has.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you have to fulfill that need for your own self. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's kind of this, like, you bounce back and forth between, this is the best thing ever, I'm so happy I'm so happy I'm this. Like, what a cool thing that I have gotten, either gotten good at or been gifted with. And you bounce between that and, like, oh my God, like, this is so terrible. I wish I were anything else, because I feel like a lot of careers are, you get to a certain place and then there's a degree of, there's a safety net in there in some way. And there's just no safety net for musicians. I just read this article that was talking about, like, there are similarities in the brain between being a musician and believing that you're going to, like, arrive somewhere to gambling.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, it's really, there's this kind of
like what is it? Anticipatory serotonin, I think is like the technical term.
Yeah,
or something.
like
I may be wrong, sorry.
You've got to be like a little out of your mind. Like, you keep going back to the slot machine, even though you've lost a certain amount of times, and you keep going back and you're like, this is the time, baby, this is it. When you see that in gamblers, you're like, you have a problem. When you see it in musicians, there's this, like, Instagram artifice that's like, you got to believe in yourself when no one else believes. And, like, yes, that's true, but I also think it would be beneficial to have conversations that are actually based in reality, that are like, hey, are you guys good? Because we know that it's really hard for you. Like, your main sources of reaching people are Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, which are demonstrably linked to poor mental health. Like, if you're a musician or you're an artist, you're not just someone posting a picture of your kid or, like, posting a picture of your hike. Your entire world is based around, like, I've spent thousands of dollars on this album. This is my entire marketing budget. Like, we're using these platforms so differently. And when it doesn't hit and we keep going year after year after year of the same, like, dropping a project and being like, oh, you guys, I'm so excited to announce. It's like, no, we're not excited. We're actually so tired. We're so tired. And every musician I know that's independent, that's like, that we all kind of, it's a small world. It really is a small world. But we're all feeling it. But we have to go on these platforms and we have to pretend to be excited about our releases when really we're not. So I think I'm just being real about it right now.
Just refreshing, because again, I talk with musicians all the time, and I hear some of those things that they would never officially say in front of people normally.
It's weird that I feel like I've been doing that more. I've been like, no, I hate it, and people are like, and I'm like, I just would rather just kind of be real about it, Yeah,
it's refreshing. It's almost like, okay, this is a weird comparison. There's a stand-up comedian where she has a bit where she talks about her mental health and being bipolar, and how so many people responded to that because it's something everyone kind of knows. Comedians have mental health issues.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, they don't openly talk about it the way she did.
Yeah.
Where she just was blatant and saying, yeah, this is what I told my therapist and whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like musicians and other creative types haven't really made that same leap. Like, we don't really talk about, like, actors, how much we all know they get tons of rejection before they ever get a book a gig somewhere.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we only talk to the ones who do end up making it. We don't hear all the ones of, like, oh, you ended up going with your backup plan, and how are you coping? And musicians, like, there never really is a backup plan. They keep creating, even if they never really break that barrier that they're looking for.
Yeah, it's like it's massively devastating, to have to switch, because it's like, it's your survival. Truly, like, it's hard to make money from music. You can, and
it's usually the lawyers.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are making money off of musicians. But I mean, you can figure it out. But also I sort of feel like I get really frustrated with this idea of like, you know, you got to be optimistic all the time. Like you got to have all these positive vibes. You got to believe. And I'm like, it's kind of like a yes and we're facing a real crisis in the music industry. No one's really like the middle class and the lower middle and the lower class of musicians are really having a hard time. You know, in an industry that you could make money off of touring, people are no longer able to make the same amount of money because the wages haven't increased and gas is astronomical.
Right.
And, you know, people were
trying to sell merch, because I understand merch is how a lot of independent musicians support themselves.
Yeah.
Merch isn't selling the same way, or it's a lot more expensive to produce. Like just to make T-shirts now is a lot more expensive.
And you know, unless you're pressing vinyl, which people like as collector's items, people aren't really buying CDs. So it's like, and vinyl is so expensive to produce. So what was a quick turnaround, you know, you pay $200 for, or like, I don't know, like $150 to $200 for a couple hundred CDs, you mark them up, you can turn a quick profit, and it's not that much of an investment. You can't do that anymore. No one's buying CDs. So we're kind of like in this place where it's like, okay, like what do I do, you know?
Yeah, it's where do we go from here?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's important to have these conversations. I think it's important to be realistic. It's important to just talk about, like, yeah, it's hard. And yes, it brings a lot of joy. And I think that's just kind of the nature of life. It's like, yeah, it's terrible. And it's also awesome. And like, it's all of these things in between. But if we can't have real conversations about how we're feeling, then we're going to lose a lot of people. That's just kind of how I feel.
It's good I think that's a good sort of recap of it, is that yes, it can be hard to be and I'm going to say creative person in general, because I don't think this is exclusive to musicians. I believe that anyone who has creative outlets of any kind faces that same dilemma of how do you balance the need to produce that, to have your creative outlet, with the realistic expectation of what the long term is for that, and what the likelihood of breaking any kind of barrier for it to be your full-time or to even be profitable period of any kind. Yeah. That's a struggle you see Etsy artists deal with, and other types of creative people too. So I find it refreshing. I'm glad that, you know, we have this outlet here to talk about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah,
well,
I agree.
I am going to shift gears on you a little bit, because I still want to hear more of your music. And speaking of the creative bits, it's, you know, things that we all enjoy, and not only the creative process of producing, but also the consumption of creative.
Yeah.
So tell me what we're about to consume in here.
So this is a song. This is sort of my song. This is my peace song. So the song is called "Where Is Your God Now." So I'll let it speak for itself.
It's here.
Can I get a little guitar in the monitor? Thank you. Okay. Whoa. Sorry, you guys. I have to tune. There we go. Okay. I've been talking to the sky. It's not much conversation. When I fall asleep at night, I dream about salvation. That summer in Atlanta, they flew planes up overhead. They were celebrating freedom. All that I could feel was dread. There are places where that sound is the last thing you hear before your final breath. Where is your God now? All I see are your monsters. Was it enough now?
blood thicker than water, and all the lines we draw just keep on cutting our own throats. Where is your God now? Where did he go? Oh, I've been watching videos of distant cities burning, crimson stains on children's clothes, the unholy light of morning. It's a prophecy, not listen to our history rewound. When our weddings, endless funerals, flowers stamped out on the ground, and 1,000 days of rain couldn't come close to washing it away. Where is your God now? All I see are your monsters. What have we done now? Blood running like water, and all the lines we draw just keep on cutting our own throats. Where is your God now? 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 Where did he go? Oh, 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 oh.
Thank you. Oh, another song? Okay. This is... So that last song was called Where's Your God Now? This song is called Bone to Pick. And this is sort of about what we were talking about earlier. This is probably a bit sad, but, you know, we're gonna do it anyways. Sorry, I'm like, it's that season. All right, we're really doing it now. I don't know why it's so hard to tune my guitar in this basement.
I don't wanna die, but I don't wanna be here. I know that's not really fun to hear. Life feels like a party I'm not supposed to leave yet. But I don't like parties, and I just don't like it here. It's too loud inside my head. All my dreams turn into nightmares. When I sleep, I don't find rest. Got a bone to pick. If I'm here to fight with God, then I give up, then I give in. If I'm here to fight with God, I'm giving in. I don't wanna die, but I don't wanna be here. Maybe somewhere down the line I came out wrong. got nothing left. Gotta keep on to beg. If I'm here to fight with God, then I give up, then I give in. If I'm here to fight with God, I'm giving in. So quiet inside my head. I've been running all the numbers. None of this makes any sense. Gotta keep on a beg. I can't fight it anymore. I'm giving up. I'm giving in. I'm not fighting anymore. I'm giving in.
Your voice always gives me chills. I
Oh,
love that.
thank you.
It's so beautiful. When I listen to your recorded music, you've got this great sort of high energy pop vibe. And then when I get to hear you acoustic, it's like I just melt.
Ah, thank you. I mean, that's how it started out. I just, I was always just someone with a guitar, and I just started writing. I think why the music is really personal is it really started as something I never intended to share with anyone. So I never started writing music. I think I had like 7 or 8 years of writing songs before I ever really thought about performing them. So I started writing songs at 13, and I think I was 21 when I went to my first open mic. So I really couldn't help it. Like I didn't start out with this like I'm gonna write a banger. I didn't have that in mind. It just was something that I had to do for myself because this was the way that I got through a very, very difficult time in my life. So it was really therapy for me. So,
in fact, listening, of course, I listened to your music more than just today, but listening to it, some of it recently, it struck me just because I've heard some of your music as it came out, but then having it in context and hearing, like, for example, the song Bloom and Sobriety next to your recent music and going, okay, there's kind of this personal arc of everything you've grown and gone through.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's why I keep all my old music up because I think I became known as sort of this breakup singer, which I think is really reductive, to be honest, because I think if you go into it a little bit further, there are songs about abusive relationships. So I think I really had every right to write about it. But I think when women process or grieve and put it into something that is for consumption, it's easy to get pigeonholed as like, oh, this vengeful, angry, which has been really, I think for years I didn't really I don't think I knew how to stick up for myself in those situations. Like I played live streams in the pandemic where the host, after every single song I played, just said, oh, are all of your songs so sad? Where's the happy one? I mean, to the point where people were on the live stream commenting, like, leave her alone. Like, she can do whatever she wants. So I think I've moved into a point where I understand and I realize that my music is not going to be for everyone. You're not going to put this on at the club. Like, you're not going to want to, like, put this out before you go out. But you might want to put it on when you're really feeling something and you want to. Because to me, I think art is sort of... It's that little thing that just hits your heart and then allows you to release what's being stored in it. Like whenever I'm in an art museum, when I read a poem that just hits, when I hear a piece of music, there's something about some, there's something the human experience is condensed in art, and it's something that everyone can relate to. And I think a lot of people just want to numb and escape. And I think there's a lot of music out there that is that and is not going super, super deep.
Right, but I would say just like, I don't know, so many other mediums, music, one of the things that personally appeals to me is the fact that there's literally a song for every emotion. That it's, and as human beings, we don't have just, 5 emotions. We have a huge variety, and there's nuance to all of that. And the fact that when you talk about someone saying, oh, were they all sad? In my head, I'm thinking, oh, you may as well just ask her to smile more.
That's exactly what it feels like to me. And I actually think that I think all of my music is very triumphant, because it captures a moment in time where I was so lost and got through it. And that's how I got through it. Like, that's why I'm alive, because I have this ability, and I think all of us have this ability to take a terrible situation, take something that really is like life-ending, life-altering, and be able to make something out of it. That's what we do as human beings. That's how we survive. We have to make sense out of things that don't make sense.
Right. There's so much in life, and particularly the last couple of years, that does not make sense. But at the same time, when I can connect with a lyric, like one of your lyrics that just forever in my head, it's how the ground where you had the seed planted is now poisoned. Mm-hmm. That he poisoned the ground where your seed was. Yeah. That it's such a visual thing, as well as just understanding the emotion behind it and how it carries with the music, because it's not just the lyric on its own. That would be if we were reading it as poetry, but putting that sound to it and the emotion to it is what makes it resonate.
That's what I always really liked about songwriting, because I started writing poetry, and I just felt like, because I was obsessed with a lot of the confessional poets. I was obsessed with Anne Sexton. I really liked Sylvia Plath a lot, but really it was Anne who did it for me. But I wanted to, I think my first song was a poem, and I was like, this doesn't really hit. And then I was learning guitar around the same time. Like, I taught myself a couple chords, and then I put the poem to music, and it was like, I think I was trying to over-explain. The thing that I love about poetry is it's a lot of what's not being said. And I think that I wasn't a great poet, but I think that there's a lot of what's not being said in just the way that I sing things. Like, there's a lot of what's not being said. Just in the music behind things. Which is what, you can sing I can hear a song in a language I don't understand and just be moved to tears, because there's something about it. I don't need to know what it's about to feel what the singer is feeling.
I think that's a common experience, particularly with opera.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I was
pretty well known for that.
I was recently in Japan, and they were having a festival. I was in Tokyo, and this woman was on stage, and she was singing opera, and it was so beautiful, and I just wept. And she's, singing in Japanese, and she could have been singing about, like, I don't know, macaroni and cheese, and I would have been weeping regardless. I don't think she was, but it was so beautiful.
Right. And again, it's not so much the lyrics, although the lyrics, of course, are what will stick with me sometimes. Yeah. It's that combination of all of it, and knowing it. Again, I'm speaking for myself personally, but I know by voicing it, maybe others will connect. Knowing that the last couple of years have been pretty insane for most of humanity, and having an outlet or something to connect with to say, oh, that's it. That it's not something you could necessarily put words to or explain easily until you could point to something like that song and go, that's it. That encaptures what I was trying to express and trying to explain to someone how I was feeling about something. It's, this song is what explains it. And having that connection isn't necessarily just because I want to share the song to explain it to someone, but to explain it to my own self and have that realization and understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there are songs that are in my head constantly because of the impact that they had on me all those years. That's what I want. I was like, I want to do that. I want to be that for someone. And I do think that, I make music for myself because I like feel like I have to, but I also, I want to just, the first thing I wanted to be was a veterinarian, and then I wanted to be a basketball player, and then I wanted to be an actress, and then I wanted to be a singer. So I had a couple different things, but okay, in the middle of that, I also wanted to be a therapist, because I went through a rough time. Arguably, you could say I'm still going through a rough time, but
I mean, you are still alive, so that
but I'm
qualifies.
still alive, so yeah, exactly. We're all going through a rough time, but the reason I was like, I maybe want to be a therapist was because I wanted to help people through what I had gone through. And I think for me, music has been this, like, I want to put words to an experience, because there have been times in my life where I was like, there's no way. Like, when I was a teenager, I did not think I was going to make it. I did not think I was going to make it to like 18. I remember I hit 21 and I was like, wild. I really, like, without getting into it, I had really no idea. So it was like, once I passed a certain age, I was like, well, I guess I have to do something with what I fumbled into. Like, I didn't die, so I guess I have, I didn't think that was possible. And I know that so many people are out there struggling with those same feelings or struggling with those same addictions. And I felt so convicted. I just was like, if I can reach this point, and I realized it's not a point you reach because you cycle back in and out. That's just life. You don't, like, you can't, I mean, if you're a person that has some mental health issues, whether they be addiction, depression, anxiety, it's really hard to get them under control. I don't even think they're a bad thing. I think it's your body's alarm system going off,
telling you that something's not right or something's not normal that you're experiencing.
And unfortunately, we live in a world that's not normal. We live in cities where we have no free time. We're so consumed by work. We're terrified of having some sort of accident because we can't afford it. We live in a really sick world. We really do. It's a sick place, and we're like, what's wrong with me? It's not
internal, it's external.
It is, and it can be both for sure. But
true,
yeah,
because we've all met people who are like, ooh, they're in it, and
yeah. I've also met people that are like, yeah, no, I'm great, and I'm like, solid. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, right. They just aren't, they're like really genuinely, like, they can see the problems and things, but I feel that sometimes, like, I was born with like an exposed nerve, like, I think I'm that sensitive. So I think I just, you figure out a way to wrap it and you become mean in some ways. And then it's a process of,
it's like some people's emotions, I feel like, are turned up to 11 on the amp. And others, it's like they're registered, but they're so low that you're like, how is it you can function? And yes, you feel it, but you're not feeling it the way someone on 11 feels it.
Yeah, like, I could live on an island by myself. I couldn't survive, like, logistically, but if I had food delivered to me and I was, like, safe, I could live on an island for a year and be fine. Like, that's the kind of, like, anxiety that I have. I'm like, everything is so much. So I could be, like, left alone for a year and it would be perfect. It's weird. I think most people are like, that would be terrible. And I'm like, that is the best thing.
That was the joke of the pandemic of, introverts suddenly paradise of we are legally obligated not to go anywhere.
I was like, wow, I didn't really change that much, like, I mean, I did. It was, but yeah, I also think a lot of people are having trouble afterwards kind of reintegrating, and I think I've experienced some of that myself. Like, there are certain situations I'm in where I have that, like, that kind of feeling of panic, like, oh, I'm around too many people.
Which, as you know, I go to a lot of concerts, and I've been to plenty of crowded places, but because of that gap where everything was shut down and I didn't go anywhere, when I went to the convention center to get the vaccine, and there's just literally thousands of people, I suddenly understood what people who have that anxiety about crowds experience. It suddenly registered for me. I'm like, this is what they feel like, or at least a small measure of it, because it was such a jarring experience to go from, literally months, almost a year into it of not being in a crowd to suddenly being in a enormous crowd of people.
Yeah.
and how very jarring that is.
It you know, yeah, absolutely. I think we've all gone through so much, and
again, that's someone who previous to that did not have a problem with crowds and was completely fine. So I can only imagine how someone who pre-pandemic had an issue with crowds, how like a whole different level.
Like festivals are like my nightmare. Like festivals are great if I can get off stage and like go to the backstage and then be alone.
Have the little green room to hide out.
Yeah, that's cool. I can handle 16 people at a time, but like put me in a crowd and I'm gonna freak out.
It's safer up on stage.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, you have Rose Fest that you're going to be performing at.
Yeah. So I'll be at the Salmon. I want to say it's the Salmon Skin Festival, but it's not. It's like the Salmon something festival, or the Salmon stage, or not right? The festival. It's not called the Salmon Skin Festival. I wish it was. I'll be at the Salmon stage at the Rose Festival on Sunday at 5:30, and I'll have my full band. And so to anyone that's listening, it's more like this is very acoustic and very laid back, but I have it's like a rock, pop, punk, pop band, you know. So we rip. It's cool.
It'll be a good danceable vibe.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Anyone who's at Rose Fest and needs a break from the, rides and carnival stuff.
Yeah, and then you'll listen to the lyrics and they'll be like, Jesus. You're like, what is happening?
Or who knows, like you said, they may connect and be like, oh, I feel so much better now that I have that.
Yeah, I think it's really just, I can always tell in the crowd who is like not feeling it, and then there's always like a couple women that are like wide-eyed and they're like, you just sang my whole, they need it, they needed to hear it, and I'm like, that it's for you, this is for you, it's not for like, it's not for some of people, and that's totally fine. I can genre switch, I can switch it up, I could write whatever I wanted to, but it's like, I don't know, I've just found not what necessarily makes me happy, but that's process.
It's what you need.
It's what I need, yeah.
There you go. All right. Yeah. So before we run out of time, make sure everyone is aware Laryssa Birdseye's music is available on most streaming platforms. I believe, was it Bandcamp, Spotify?
I don't think I've updated my Bandcamp in like pre-pandemic, so whatever's on there is weird. But definitely, I hate saying it, but I'll never get any money from Spotify. But stream it on there. Stream it on Spotify, Apple Music. You can follow me anywhere. It's just Laryssa Birdseye, Laryssa, and then Birdseye, like the frozen foods company.
And of course, again, you've got the Rose Festival performance this Sunday. Future gigs, where's the best place to go to find out?
You can go to my website, but honestly, my Instagram. Like, I'll post about things there. I'm like so overwhelmed with promoting things, so you'll find out about it like 2 days before, and then I'll be like, damn, the turnout wasn't really that great. Couldn't imagine why.
Of course, if someone wants to come see you and just is trying to find out about upcoming gigs, can they just message you and be like, hey, when's your next gig?
Absolutely. And then I'll never read the message, and it'll contribute to the shame spiral.
You could respond to it like a week later.
Yeah, just know I saw it and it's ruining my mental health. Thank you for reaching out.
You could put in the context, respond when you are ready. Here's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, I'll hit you back in 3.5 years when I've quit music and I'm on my island.
There we go. Okay.
I'll be like, sorry about that. I'm actually never playing music again.
Okay.
Catch me on Spotify. All right.
I love the tone with that. Since we've got about 10 minutes left, I want to make sure we talk about your latest single that you put out, Joan of Arc, which, of course, the cover art is beautiful. I love the whole chainmail vibe with, at the same time, making it sort of glam.
Thank you. That outfit was like $3, and then I had my drummer shoot it, and then I edited it. So you really don't have to pay money to anyone to do the things, this time I was like, nope, I'm doing it. So
nice. Tell me a little bit about that song.
I wrote that. I'm always, the last 4 years I've been like, the last year I've really been struggling with like, do I quit music completely? Why am I doing this at all? And so I walked to the park with my dog, and I like laid down in this field, and I actually just like said to the sky, I was just like, I feel so alone. And I'm not religious. I didn't grow up believing in anything. I'm not like I have no idea what I believe at this point, but at the moment that I said, I feel so alone, this squirrel in this tree started barking at me, and I just like, it scared the hell out of me. I sat up, and my dog was barking, and like my heart was going crazy, and I kind of looked at the squirrel for a while, and I was like, whoa, like what if this is a sign from like God or the universe to keep going and to not quit, and that, you know, I'm not alone. And then my next thought was like, oh no, like I'm going crazy. Like I'm literally probably losing my mind. And then I just got hit with a lyric. I can't say it because I can't say the George Carlin words, but the chorus kind of slammed into me. And then I sprinted home and I wrote the song in my head as I was running home because we talked about recording. I'd left my phone at home and I sprinted home, and so I wrote it in like a frenzy, and I love it. I just kind of feel like it captures the experience of feeling like, you know, you're an artist, you've been given a gift, at a certain point, you're like, why did you give this to me? Why did you give this? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, this is like a sick joke to like, give me something that I love so much. Give me something that I think I'm good at, and I'm like good enough to be in a certain place, and then just have me consistently flop or like not get to where I was like. So my next album is basically like me shouting at
the struggle.
Yeah, I'm like, if the universe has like any kind of bureaucracy, I would like a word with HR.
Right.
I would really like a word.
Why is it creative jobs can't be like, you know, corporate jobs where it's I can just get hired to do this thing and have, you know, a 401k and whatever to go with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would also hate that, but I would just like to not be jerked around so much. I feel like I've been taken advantage of and like exploited and like, you know, there have been a lot of inappropriate interactions that I've had with people in the industry where I'm like, as an independent contractor, there's nothing I can do, you know, legally. It's like, it's just, I could go on and on and on, but
right.
I won't.
You know, we'll just refer to them as, you know, not the bear, and we're going to choose the bear.
Yeah, they're literal cockroaches, and I really have to believe that, honestly, anyone who has screwed me over is going to get what's coming to them. And I'm not going to be in charge of it. I'm not going to be the facilitator, but I swear to God, if you're someone out there that's taking advantage of independent musicians or independent artists at all, I really hope the worst for you. I'm not a love and light person. I have wrath, you know? So.
There you go. Yeah, no, it's right up there with people who like steal from a homeless person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just,
I would put them on the same level. Like if you hurt a musician, it's like you're on that same level.
Scam the elderly.
Right.
Like
it's that kind of person.
Like, yeah, it's an easy hustle, but what kind of person are you? I don't know.
Right. We're judging you. Mm-hmm. Anyway,
we don't like you.
So in the 7 minutes we have left, what would you like to play?
I'm gonna play Joan of Arc. I think it makes the most amount of sense to end with.
Nice. All right, let's hear it.
All right. People stare when I talk to myself in public. I don't care what they say, I'm the first to admit that something's wrong. I don't belong here anymore. I guess that I wore out my welcome. You could put me back up on the funeral pyre. I found God in the smoke of a fire that I started. We don't talk anymore, it doesn't stop me from trying. I'm falling out of favor, what's a girl to do? I'll bring an army, how's that work for you? I'm on my Joan of Arc, sick bitch, screaming at the sky like it answer this wish. Gotta want something different. I think I'm starting to lose my mind. Pretty place
Please prescribe me something for the voices. Is it divinity or just all my choices? Is it my megalomania, or could it be that God exists and somehow she listens to me? I've been trying, I've been fighting, I've been down and out. I've been beaten, I've been buried, I've been freaking out. I've been patient, I've been waiting, but I'm burning down. I'm burning down. I'm on my Joan of Arc, sick bitch, screaming at the sky like an answer. This wish, gotta and want something different. I think I'm starting to lose my mind. I'm waiting, patient. I'm fading. Oh no, I've been trying, I've been fighting, I've been down and out. I've been beaten, I've been buried, I've been freaking out. I've been patient, I'm waiting, but I'm burning down. I'm burning down. I'm on my Joan of Arc, sick bitch, screaming at the sky like an answer. This wish, gotta want something different. I think I'm starting to lose my mind. I'm on my Joan of Arc, sick bitch, staring at the sky like an answer. This wish, gotta want something different. I think I'm starting to lose my mind. I'm starting to lose my mind.
And the music video is coming up for that very soon. I got the file back today, and I actually cried. I was like, oh, this is it. I was like, this is the reason I do this. I was like, great.
So tell people what they can expect from that music video.
We shot it. I shot it with one of my favorite collaborators, Lisa Bolden, who's an amazing videographer. And the concept was, because of that squirrel. I'm literally, we shot this in Hollywood. Like, I'm in a hospital gown and like a bodysuit. I looked insane. So I'm losing my mind like in all of these places. And we were so nervous that one, we were, people were going to say, you can't film here. And then two, that people were going to be like, what are they doing? Literally no one batted an eye. There's so many crazy things that happened in LA.
When you were in, what was it, Ventura or?
Like out in the desert area. Yeah. It was stunning. It was so stunning. It's so beautiful. It's so beautifully shot. And I think it really captures like I'm literally losing my mind in the video. I'm talking to myself and I'm finding all of these, and it's crazy because we found all of these signs like out in LA. Like there's this sign that like, why are you here? Like the light in the darkness. Like there were all of these signs that it was just, we found them. We didn't even stage them, and we kind of put them in the video because it's like, what does it feel like to feel like this simultaneously like I want to give all the way up, and then also finding meaning or creating meaning from these like little things that you see where you're like, maybe I should keep going, like maybe this is God talking to me, whatever, if you're religious, whatever, but maybe this is like something, and then to feel like, am I crazy?
Because there is a fine line between the two.
There really is. That's why it's called Joan of Arc. So the song, I was like, literally, I bet this is how Joan of Arc felt. Like, oh, God's talking directly to me through the squirrel. I was like, oh my God, no.
Okay, before we run out of time.
Yeah.
Can you do a quick station drop? Just Laryssa Birdseye, you're listening to KPSU.
Yes, this is Laryssa Birdseye, and you are listening to KPSU.
Thank you so much. And of course, thank you to Sub Basement Studios for filming and putting this on YouTube. I definitely appreciate you. And of course, our wonderful sound engineer, Ella. She's amazing. So thank you for everyone participating and for those tuning in. Thank you so much. And of course, Laryssa, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. This is nice to talk everything out.
It's so good. It's nice just because I feel like, as I said, there's sometimes a lot of this just happens, in intimate conversations, and it's nice to have a platform to go, you know what, we're not the only ones.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm gonna chop this up and I'm gonna put it on my Instagram, especially the stuff about like if you are scamming people out of their money, I hope that it comes back to you. I won't name names, but I will. So send that money back to me. All right, that was it.
Okay, and of course, stay tuned for more music here with KPSU.